Ladies and gentlemen, I want to begin with a question that may make some of you uncomfortable. How many times have you surrendered your peace to someone who did not earn it? How many nights have you lost sleep because of words spoken by a person who cannot even control their own life? How many opportunities have slipped through your hands because you spent your energy fighting battles that never deserved your attention? Think about that for a moment. Somebody says something negative about you, and suddenly your day is ruined. Somebody misunderstands you, and now your mind is occupied for hours. Somebody rejects you, criticizes you, overlooks you, insults you, and somehow they gain access to your emotions without your permission. The question is not what they did. The question is why they have so much power over your inner world. The greatest prison is not built with iron bars. The greatest prison is emotional captivity. It is the condition where other people decide how you feel. Why high they went. You is the state where your happiness rises and falls according to someone else's behavior. It is the habit of allowing external circumstances to control an internal kingdom that was meant to be governed by wisdom, purpose, and self-mastery. You see, every human being faces difficult people. Every human being encounters critics, doubters, manipulators, and individuals who seem determined to provoke a reaction. The difference between those who live in constant frustration and those who walk in lasting peace is not found in the people around them. The difference is found in the way they interpret what happened. A mature tree does not argue with the wind. The wind blows because that is what wind does. The tree stands because that is what a tree was created to do. And many of us spend our lives arguing with the wind. We want everyone to understand us. We want everyone to approve of us. We want everyone to agree with us. We want everyone to treat us fairly. Yet one of the most liberating truths you will ever discover is that people can misunderstand you and still be wrong. People can criticize you and still lack understanding. People can reject you and still fail to recognize your value. The sun does not stop shining because someone complains about the light. Your value does not decrease because someone fails to recognize it. When you truly understand who you are, you stop seeking validation from people who are confused about themselves. One reason people become angry so easily is because they have attached their identity to other people's opinions. When your identity is weak, criticism feels like destruction. When your identity is strong, criticism becomes information. It becomes data. It becomes something you evaluate rather than something you absorb. Imagine a ship crossing the ocean. Storms surround it. Waves crash against it. Winds push against it. Yet none of those things can sink the ship unless they get inside. Did you hear what I just said? The water around. The ship is not the problem. The water inside the ship is the problem. The negativity around you is not the greatest threat. The negativity you allow into your spirit is what creates destruction. People will always have opinions. People will always talk. People will always judge. People will always project their fears, insecurities, and frustrations onto others. But their emotions do not have to become your emotions. Their chaos does not have to become your chaos. Their anger does not have to become your anger, because wisdom teaches us a powerful lesson. You cannot always control what happens around you, but you can control what happens within you. And that is where true power begins. Most people think power means controlling others. Real power is controlling yourself. Real power is remaining calm when others are losing control. Real power is responding thoughtfully when others react emotionally. Real power is maintaining your focus while distractions are screaming for your attention. Anyone can lose their temper. Anyone can complain. Anyone can retaliate. Anyone can react. But it takes character to remain centered when circumstances invite you to become unstable. Have you ever noticed that people who provoke others are often searching for significance? They throw insults because they crave attention. They create drama because drama makes them feel important. They stir conflict because conflict becomes their source of energy. The moment you understand this, you stop taking everything personally. Not everything is about you. Sometimes people speak from their wounds. Sometimes they speak from jealousy. Sometimes they speak from fear. Sometimes they speak from ignorance. And sometimes they are fighting battles you know nothing about. A person carrying pain often distributes pain. A person carrying confusion often spreads confusion. A person carrying insecurity often attacks confidence. This does not excuse harmful behavior, but it helps you understand it. And understanding often dissolves anger, because when you see the deeper cause behind a person's actions, you stop reacting to the symptom and begin recognizing the source. A child throws a tantrum because they lack emotional maturity. Yet many adults throw emotional tantrums disguised as arguments, criticism, gossip, manipulation, and hostility. The tragedy is that too many people join them. Instead of rising above emotional immaturity, they participate in it. Instead of becoming leaders of their emotions, they become servants to them. Leadership begins long before you lead others. Leadership begins when you lead yourself. How can you guide a team if you cannot guide your thoughts? How can you influence a community if you cannot influence your reactions? How can you build a legacy if every insult distracts you from your mission? The people who make the greatest impact in history understand something extraordinary. Their purpose is bigger than their feelings. Their vision is larger than their frustrations. Their assignment is greater than their desire to prove themselves right. When your life is driven by purpose, small conflicts lose their power over you. You simply become too busy building to spend your life battling. You become too focused on planting seeds to argue with every person who doubts the harvest. You become too committed to your destiny to stop every few miles and defend yourself against every opinion. The eagle does not waste energy explaining itself to sparrows. It simply keeps flying. And perhaps that is the lesson some of us need today. You do not need to attend every argument you are invited to. You do not need to answer every criticism. You do not need to defend yourself against every misunderstanding. You do not need to carry every burden that someone attempts to place upon your shoulders. Peace is not weakness. Peace is strength under control. Peace is the discipline of choosing your response rather than surrendering it. Peace is the decision to guard your mind like a priceless treasure, because that is exactly what it is. Your attention is valuable. Your energy is valuable. Your focus is valuable. Your life is valuable. And every moment spent being consumed by anger is a moment stolen from your purpose. The people who accomplish extraordinary things understand the economics of attention. They know that every emotional reaction costs something. Every grudge costs energy. Every resentment costs focus. Every unnecessary conflict costs progress. And eventually they make a decision. They decide that their future is too important to sacrifice for temporary emotional satisfaction. They realize that winning an argument is not always the same as winning in life. And there comes a moment in every person's journey when they must ask themselves a life-changing question. Do I want to be right, or do I want to be free? Because sometimes freedom begins when you stop carrying offenses that were never meant to accompany you into your future. Sometimes freedom begins when you stop demanding that everyone understand your path. Sometimes freedom begins when you stop seeking justice from people who are incapable of recognizing truth. And as you continue growing, as you continue developing discipline, wisdom, vision, and self-mastery, you begin to recognize a profound reality that changes everything. You discover that nobody can truly disturb your peace without your participation. You discover that emotional freedom is not granted by circumstances. It is cultivated by choice. And once a person reaches the point where their identity is rooted in purpose, their confidence is rooted in character, their value is rooted in creation, and their direction is rooted in a vision larger than themselves, they begin to walk through criticism differently. They begin to walk through conflict differently. They begin to walk through betrayal differently because they understand that the strongest person in the room is often not the loudest, not the most aggressive, not the most intimidating, but the one who has learned the secret of mastering the inner world. And when that mastery becomes part of your daily life, when your emotions no longer dictate your decisions, when your purpose becomes stronger than your impulses, when your focus becomes greater than the noise around you, you start to notice that the very situations that once controlled you begin to lose their grip. And what happens next is where most people finally discover that the battle was never really with other people. The battle was with perception. The battle was with interpretation. The battle was with the stories you told yourself about what other people said, what other people did, and what those actions supposedly meant about your worth. Because two people can experience the exact same criticism and walk away with completely different outcomes. One person hears rejection and begins questioning their value. The other hears rejection and continues moving toward their purpose. One person hears an insult and carries it for years. The other hears the same insult and leaves it behind within minutes. The difference is not the event. The difference is the meaning assigned to the event. You see, life is not shaped merely by what happens to you. Life is shaped by what happens within you while things are happening around you. And that is why emotional mastery is one of the highest forms of wisdom. The world teaches reaction. Wisdom teaches reflection. The world encourages immediate responses. Wisdom teaches deliberate responses. The world celebrates emotional outbursts. Wisdom celebrates emotional control. There is a reason diamonds are formed under pressure. Pressure reveals composition. Pressure exposes character. Pressure uncovers what has been developed in secret. Anyone can appear calm when everything is going well. Anyone can appear patient when nobody is challenging them. Anyone can appear kind when everyone agrees with them, but character is revealed when life becomes uncomfortable. Character is revealed when expectations are not met. Character is revealed when criticism arrives unexpectedly. Character is revealed when someone treats you unfairly, and every difficult person who enters your life becomes an opportunity to discover what still needs development within you. Now, that may sound surprising. Most people see difficult individuals as obstacles. The wise learn to see them as teachers, not because their behavior is correct, not because their actions should be celebrated, but because every challenge exposes an area where greater strength can be developed. Think about the athlete. Resistance is not the enemy of strength. Resistance creates strength. Without resistance, muscles never grow. Without opposition, endurance never develops. Without challenges, discipline remains untested. And perhaps some of the people who frustrate you the most are unknowingly participating in your growth. Perhaps they are revealing emotional weaknesses that would otherwise remain hidden. Perhaps they are exposing insecurities that still require healing. Perhaps they are showing you where your identity remains dependent upon external approval. Because if a stranger's opinion can destroy your confidence, then confidence was never truly established. If someone's criticism can completely derail your purpose, then purpose was never deeply rooted. If another person's behavior can repeatedly determine your emotional state, then your inner world is still waiting for a stronger foundation. The mature individual understands this. Instead of asking, "Why are they doing this to me?" they begin asking, "What is this situation teaching me about myself?" That question changes everything. It transforms frustration into growth. It transforms irritation into awareness. It transforms obstacles into opportunities. And suddenly, life stops happening to you and starts developing you. Now, let me tell you something that many people spend decades learning. Most offenses lose power when they are not rehearsed. Did you hear that? Most offenses lose power when they are not rehearsed. The mind is like fertile soil. Whatever you repeatedly plant there begins to grow. If you continuously replay an insult, resentment grows. If you repeatedly revisit a betrayal, bitterness grows. If you constantly relive moments of disappointment, frustration grows. The event may have lasted 5 minutes, but because you revisit it hundreds of times in your mind, you transform 5 minutes of pain into 5 years of suffering. The person who offended you may have moved on long ago. Yet you continue carrying the weight. You continue feeding the memory. You continue strengthening the emotional attachment. And every day that you do, you grant the past authority over the present. What a tragedy it is when yesterday becomes stronger than today. What a tragedy it is when old wounds become permanent residences, rather than temporary experiences, because you were not created to carry every injury forever. You were created to grow beyond it. You were created to learn from it. You were created to become wiser because of it. And one of the most powerful decisions you can make is deciding what deserves your mental attention. Not everything deserves access to your thoughts. Not everything deserves access to your emotions. Not everything deserves access to your energy. A wise person becomes selective. Selective about what they focus on. Selective about what they respond to. Selective about what they internalize. They understand that attention is one of life's most valuable currencies. Where attention goes, energy flows. Where energy flows, results follow. That means every moment spent obsessing over negativity is energy unavailable for your dreams. Every moment spent replaying insults is energy unavailable for your growth. Every moment spent nurturing resentment is energy unavailable for your purpose. Imagine trying to build a magnificent house while constantly carrying unnecessary bricks on your back. Eventually, exhaustion becomes inevitable. The burden is not coming from the construction. The burden is coming from what was never meant to be carried. And some of you are carrying emotional bricks from years ago, words spoken years ago, mistakes made years ago, rejections experienced years ago, disappointments encountered years ago. You have been dragging them through every season of your life, dragging them into relationships, dragging them into opportunities, dragging them into dreams, dragging them into places they were never supposed to go. And all the while, your future waits patiently for you to put them down. The remarkable thing about emotionally free people is not that they avoid pain. They feel pain. They experience disappointment. They encounter betrayal. They face criticism. But they refuse to build permanent homes in temporary storms. They understand that emotions are visitors. Some visitors should be acknowledged. Some visitors should be learned from. But not every visitor should be invited to stay. Anger arrives, notice it, learn from it, then release it. Frustration arrives, notice it, learn from it, then release it. Offense arrives, notice it, learn from it, then release it. Because the goal is not to become emotionless. The goal is to become emotionally intelligent. There is a difference. An emotionless person suppresses feelings. An emotionally intelligent person understands feelings without becoming controlled by them. They recognize anger without becoming anger. They recognize disappointment without becoming disappointment. They recognize fear without allowing fear to determine their actions. That is freedom. That is maturity. That is leadership. And the moment you stop allowing every emotional impulse to dictate your behavior, something extraordinary begins to happen. You start responding from vision instead of reaction. You start making decisions from purpose instead of pride. You start living from conviction instead of circumstance. And people begin to notice, not because you announce it, not because you demand recognition, but because calmness possesses a power that chaos can never imitate. A centered individual becomes a stabilizing force wherever they go. While others panic, they think clearly. While others react emotionally, they remain grounded. While others become consumed by drama, they remain focused on what truly matters. And eventually, you reach a point where someone's attempt to provoke you no longer feels like a threat, because you recognize that your greatest strength has never been your ability to defeat opponents, but your ability to remain faithful to your purpose, regardless of who stands in front of you. And when that realization finally settles into your spirit, you begin to see every encounter, every challenge, every criticism, every misunderstanding through an entirely different lens. Because you understand that the person who truly controls their future is the person who has learned how to control themselves. Because the moment you master yourself, you become dangerous to every limitation that once held you captive. You stop being manipulated by circumstances. You stop being controlled by opinions. You stop being distracted by criticism. You stop surrendering your peace to people who have done nothing to earn it. And suddenly, life begins to look different. The same situations appear, The same challenges arise. The same difficult people cross your path. But you are no longer the same person. You have changed. You have grown. You have matured. You have developed a strength that cannot be measured by physical power, financial success, or social status. You have developed inner authority, and there is nothing more powerful than a person who possesses inner authority, because such a person walks into every room carrying something that cannot be purchased, borrowed, or imitated. They carry peace, not the fragile peace that depends on favorable circumstances, not the temporary peace that exists only when everything goes according to plan, but the deep peace that comes from knowing who they are, why they are here, and what they have been called to accomplish. And when you possess that kind of peace, something remarkable begins to happen. You stop shrinking to fit into places you have outgrown. You stop explaining your worth to people committed to misunderstanding you. You stop fighting battles that do not contribute to your future. You stop wasting precious years proving yourself to people who have already decided not to see your value. Instead, you build, you create, you serve, you lead, you grow, you move forward. While others are trapped in endless cycles of offense, you continue advancing toward your purpose. While others spend years reacting, you spend years becoming. While others are consumed by anger, you are consumed by vision. And make no mistake about it, vision is stronger than anger. Purpose is stronger than frustration. Discipline is stronger than emotion. Character is stronger than criticism. And the person who understands this becomes unstoppable, not because they never face obstacles, but because obstacles no longer determine their direction. Not because they never encounter negativity, but because negativity no longer determines their mindset. Not because they never experience disappointment, but because disappointment no longer determines their destiny. Ladies and gentlemen, there will always be someone who doubts you. There will always be someone who misunderstands you. There will always be someone who criticizes you. There will always be someone who tries to pull you into unnecessary conflict. Let them. Because your assignment is not to manage everyone else's opinions. Your assignment is to manage your own spirit. Your assignment is to guard your focus. Your assignment is to develop your gifts. Your assignment is to fulfill your purpose. Your assignment is to leave a legacy that will outlive every criticism ever spoken against you. And one day, years from now, when you look back over your life, you will not be grateful for the arguments you won. You will not be proud of the grudges you carried. You will not celebrate the moments you lost control. You will be grateful for the moments you chose wisdom over reaction. You will be proud of the moments you chose purpose over pride. You will celebrate the moments you refuse to allow temporary emotions to rob you of an extraordinary future. So from this day forward, make a decision. Protect your peace. Guard your mind. Master your emotions. Focus on your purpose. Refuse to give away your power. Walk away from unnecessary battles. Rise above petty distractions. Become the kind of person whose character remains steady regardless of circumstances. Become the kind of leader who inspires calm in the middle of chaos. Become the kind of individual who cannot be controlled because they have learned how to control themselves. The world does not need more angry people. The world needs more disciplined people. More focused people, more purposeful people. More people who understand that true greatness begins with self-mastery. Stand tall, walk boldly, believe deeply in the value placed within you. Trust the vision that has been planted in your heart. Keep moving forward even when others do not understand. Keep growing even when others remain the same. Keep building even when others are distracted. And remember this every single day of your life. No one can steal your peace without your permission. No one can control your future without your cooperation. No one can stop your purpose unless you choose to stop yourself. The power has always been within you. The strength has always been within you. The greatness has always been within you. Now go forward with courage. Go forward with confidence. Go forward with discipline. Go forward with purpose. Your best days are not behind you. They are waiting for you. Good luck on your journey. May you walk in wisdom, strength, and unwavering peace. Thank you for your time, your attention, and your commitment to becoming the highest version of yourself. Thank you. And may your future be greater than anything that ever tried to disturb your peace.